This is day 2 of substitution. So this is the short day on Wednesday where we're finishing up substitution stuff. Again, substitute means to replace something, to put in place of, or to exchange something. We went over a couple of these on Monday with that lesson. And I'm not sure if we went over this one or not, but I'm going to go through it again just to remind you. Remember, since y is by itself, okay, it equals 8x minus 7. That means I can replace this y with the 8x minus 7. So down here, it's going to be 8x minus 2, parentheses 8x minus 7. And really all I'm doing is taking this and putting it right here, because that's what y equals. Substitution means replace. Still equals 14. Now I got to do all my math to solve. Feel free to pause here, try and do it yourself. You can probably do the algebra on your own just fine. If not, watch and take notes. Got to distribute that -2 first. Sorry, distribute the -2 first. We have 8x and then -2 times 8 is -16x. -2 times -7 is positive 14. And it equals 14. And then you're just doing algebra from there. Combine your like terms. 8 minus 16 is -8x. Plus 14 equals 14. Subtract 14 from both sides. Now here's the part where people tend to freak out and panic, because 14 minus 14 equals 0. But you know what? 0 is still a number. It's okay. Just keep proceeding as normal. Gotta get x by itself, so divide by -8. You can divide 0 by anything and you will still get 0. So that means x equals 0 for this one. Now normally we're pretty excited because we're done once we have x equals, but we are not done because there are 2 variables here. Now you actually have a choice. You can use this equation or this equation to solve for y. You should use this one though. Why? Well, because the variable you're trying to solve for is already by itself. You're trying to solve for y. You just figured out what x is, so pick the one where y is already solo. So then I'm going to rewrite that here. Y equals 8x minus 7. Take this guy, replace it right there. Now it's 8 times 0 minus 7. 8 times 0 is still 0. Subtract 7, you get -7. So your answer, if we put it as a point, x goes first, y goes second, 0, comma, -7 would be your answer for that problem. Alright, now if you look at number 5, compare it to the other problems. What do you notice is different about this one that we didn't really have to deal with in the other ones? Go ahead and take a look. Think it through. What's different here? In the other problems, x or y was already by itself. We didn't really have to do that first step of getting a variable by itself. Here, however, we're going to have to do a little bit of work. Now I can pick which equation I want to work with, but I'm going to pick this one. Why would I pick that one? Well, because x already has a coefficient of 1. All I have to do is move everything else away from it. I don't have to divide out any numbers. So x minus 2y, I'm just going to rewrite it down here for space reasons. I want x to be by itself, so add 2y to both sides, which means x is actually equal to y minus 4. These cannot be combined. They're not like terms, so don't try and make them like terms. Okay, so now I've actually gotten to the steps where we already had all the work done in the other problems. So I'm just going to lightly cross off that one because I don't want to use it anymore. This is the same as this. It's just rearranged. Okay, so don't use the old one anymore. Alright, and now we just do what we normally do. We have x equals 2y minus 4. That means wherever there's an x, I can replace it with 2y minus 4, so I'm going to do that right here. So 3x minus 7y, I'm just rewriting it over here to get a nice fresh space. In place of x, I'm going to put a big group and put 2y minus 4 because I found out that that's what that equals. Everything else stays exactly the same. Okay? Pause here. Finish this part yourself. You can do the algebra for this on your own. You're very capable of doing it. So pause here, try on your own. I'm going to finish the work, but you should pause, do it yourself, and then watch. I distributed the 3 by multiplying. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. My like terms are 6y minus 7y. Well, that equals negative 1y. Minus 12 equals negative 10. Okay, now we're starting to shrink this down a little bit. Work to get y by itself. Move the 12 over. I know I'm going through this quickly, but it's algebra. This is not new stuff. This is stuff you guys are all very capable of doing. Okay, feel free to pause, copy down if you need to. We still have to go back and solve for x though. I've only done the first part, which is solve for y. Now once I have the y answer, I can actually pick which equation I want. Again, I can either pick this one, or the one I scribbled out, but I really don't want to use that one. I scribbled it out for a reason. So I can either pick the one where x is by itself, or x is kind of tucked away with all that stuff. Well, if I'm trying to solve for x, why would I pick the one where x is stuck in the midst of the 3 and the 7 and everything else? I'm going to pick this guy. So x is equal to 2y minus 4. Well, I just figured out that y is equal to negative 2. So, finish solving it. So then you get that x is equal to negative 8. Feel free to look at the work and check over if you need to see where you might have gone wrong, if you did it on your own and didn't quite get the right answer. Again, when I put it as a coordinate, x goes first, y goes second. Negative 8, comma, negative 2. That's where those lines would actually cross at. Again, pause there, catch up on your notes, do what you need to do, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, number 6. Okay, and I'm actually going to have you try this first. So pause here. And yes, I mean it. Pause here. Don't just copy down the notes. It doesn't help you at all. Okay, pause here. Try this one on your own. Okay, if you need a hint, I'll even tell you. There's your golden spot. That's where the x is almost by itself. So try and get x by itself. Work through as far as you can. And then push play again and catch up and see how you did. All right, you should have already tried it on your own. You're checking your work now, not just copying down. X is the thing I want to get by itself, so let's move that 3y to the other side. That's going to be my easiest way to get a variable by itself. Could have done something up here, but that looks like a pain in the butt, so we're not going to do that. So now it's 3y plus 19, and that's what x is equal to. So I'm actually going to go back up here and get rid of this one. It's equal to the thing I just solved, and I don't want two of the same thing. Okay, x is now equal to this, so plug it in for the other problem. So negative 2x minus 2y equals 2. Instead of x, I'm going to put 3y plus 19, and everything else stays the same. Distribute your negative 2. Negative 6y minus 38 minus 2y equals 2. Getting down to our basic algebra skills here again. Negative 6 and negative 2 equal negative 8y minus 38 equals 2. Add 38 to both sides. And if you know what to do to finish, pause here and finish it yourself. Again, basic algebra. You guys can do this. So if you got y equals -5, you did it perfectly. Well done. You're not quite done yet though, so don't move on to the next one. You still have to solve for x, and look at this. I already have a beautiful equation where x is by itself. Use that one. Do not go back to the original. That's just making extra work for yourself. Now we're going to rewrite it though. Instead of 3y, it's going to be 3 times -5 plus 19. Do a little bit of arithmetic. -15 plus 19. So x is really +4. It's not too scary, not too crazy. Yes, takes a little bit to do, takes a little bit of work. Really not too bad. There's one last equation to do. I'll do that one. If you are good at this point, you can start working on the homework, but I am going to do one other one to give you another example. Okay, so again, you can actually do this one on your own. Try it yourself. Okay. So remember, you're trying to get a variable by itself. X is almost completely solo. So I'm just going to move the 3y to the other side. And I'm going to kind of go through this example a little bit more quickly because you've already done a couple of them. The reason I'm doing this again is because I'm trying to get a variable by itself. I can't substitute unless something's alone. Okay? You can't substitute unless a variable is by itself. It doesn't work that way otherwise. X is now equal to that. I did all that work, so let's get rid of our original. Take that -3y minus 21 and plug it in right there for x. 3 times -3y minus 21 minus 4y equals 2. -9y minus 63 minus 4y equals 2. Combine your like terms. -13y minus 63 equals 2. Add 63, add 63. -13y equals 65. Well, I gotta do a little mental math there. 13 goes into 65 5 times. And it's -5. Okay, and again, I kind of rushed through that just to show you the example. It's very similar to number 5 and 6. So look back at those if you need to do a little bit longer explanation. Still have to solve for x. So in place of y, I'm now going to put -5. X is equal to +15. Negative times negative is positive. Minus 21. So x is equal to -6. And again, put them together. You get your coordinate where those two lines should cross. -6, -5. Your assignment is numbers 2 through 6 on the back side of this paper. The homework is attached to this announcement on Google Classroom, so feel free to print that off if you need to. But it should say substitution assignment or substitution homework. Again, numbers 2 through 6. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.